face. In the next bubble screen over here, let's throw curls, curls, curls.
What are the whys, right? What are the whys?
Bears Hour Live.
The Tape Never Lies Network, home of the greatest Chicago Bears fans on earth.
The following show is for mature audiences only.
The Tape Never Lies Network.
The Tape Never Lies.
Tape never lies.
Starts now.
The tape never lies.
32 is the identity.
We were kind of stuck in neutral, and I thought it was a good idea to hand the play calling over to Bill Lazor.
Loses the football, strip sack, and a take.
Bears our life. Bears our life. We go on live right after Bears games with your boys draft dots and the smartest man alive. Yo. Bears our life. Bears our life. We go on live right after Bears games with your boys draft dots and the smartest man alive. Ran up with the true analysis you expect. Raw passion for the show. Bear fans get nothing less. Locked in with real emotion and passion for every play. Coach Phil gonna bring that range, but in with facts by shade. Post game show like nothing else you're gonna hear. Some can try to copy, but a bucket's not sincere. Delivering the truth on what just happened, to be clear. That's why we're on TV, so you can see it, not just hear. Hey yo, with draft Dr. Phil, you know it's always hit sticks. Splitting double T's like 96 Hakeem hits. You can tell the shit matters. Their love can be felt. Critical of Nagy cause the talent he's been dealt. As our life keeps growing, Shane's all knowing. Delivering the truth on how the QB's throwing. Dimes on time, just lacking fundamental. Whatever the case, we get hot like Cecil. Fiery discussion on what happened in the game. This ain't your daddy's postgame, so expect the fucking flame. Not for the average fan, a loss they can't survive.
But don't you worry.
Bears Hour Live.
Bears our life. Bears our life. We go all live right after Bears
I don't think we're that much worse.
The myth, the red legend, Dr. Phil Otoshun.
Because teams realize, hey, we gotta stop Matt.
When you put that much into it, you don't let that. And the guy next to you said, "You son of a bitch, you better block." That's what happens. That's when you have a real good team.
And let's get it on.
This is Bears Hour Live.
Hey, Bears fans. The streak is over. The Bears' 5-game losing streak comes to an end here on Turkey Day. Isn't everybody excited? Super Bowl Bears, right? Is that what we're doing here? Not really. A lot of question marks remain. Hey, they got the W. That's the important part. You want to end that losing streak like always. Andy Dalton made some throws there at the end, but legitimate questions remain, like we know. Going on the road, getting the W, we're going to roll some stuff here that's going to make you laugh quite a bit, I think. Shows what this team and these players think of their head coach, especially. We have video evidence of it that we'll roll here in a little bit. But I hope everybody's having a safe holiday, enjoying some time with the family, even though the team that we root for makes that really, really hard. Bears get the dub on the win. They're on the road today on Thanksgiving, so we're going to get things rolling here. We got a special guest that's going to be joining us here shortly, but we got to roll with DDP and hear his thoughts on the game. So here comes Phil and his rant.
Happy Thanksgiving, Shane. How you doing? I hope you're doing good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How do we do this today? There's how we do it. I got my dad in the background. I hope I make you proud here, Dad. The reality of football summed up on Thanksgiving. I mean, all week long for the Atoshan household and TTNL, there's been football at every turn, whether it be Powder Puff alumni, Powder Puff, the Thanksgiving Day game here in the town, my dad in the stadium, and all of that, and the Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions. That right there, with And let me just say this, with the news of up and down, unbelievable patronization towards you, the fan, from George McCaskey and Ted Phillips and all of these news outlets reporting Matt Nagy's gone. Everybody and their brother knows, just like the song Fire Nagy, everyone knows Nagy must go. Today is just a perfect cherry on top for what it is that we've seen in regards to Matt Nagy led Chicago Bears football. An offensive guru? Not. This guy couldn't find his way out of a paper bag. It's the unfortunate showcase of what it is that you do when everyone's watching. How do you handle yourself? You squeak out a win versus the hapless Lions, who have zero shot of beating anybody in the NFL and have all their laundry list of issues, yet you're in a battle for the final drive, and people out there consider themselves PFF football fanatic, whatever the hell the fuck you think you are defending Matt Nagy as not being a problem. I got a little rational reason for you. The head coach is the leader of how the program is going to be run. The head coach, who's an offensive-minded guy, is the leader of how personnel and the offense is going to run. Now, rumor is it Nagy was going to be fired no matter what right after this game. Now we got to hold politics. Politics is more important than performance. We hear performance over the politics. What I saw today is a travesty. Yeah, they won on a field goal, and a coach with no fucking pride to save his life is going to take knees on the goal line when you got an elite runner. You can't even figure out your center getting blown into the backfield. You can't figure out your guard. You can't figure out the snap count. You can't figure out getting underneath center is more important than getting in the goddamn shotgun and trying to establish a run game from the shotgun. That's never been done before. It never will be done. This team is so lost. They're so lost. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. And the head coach is the culprit of why they're so lost. So having this news leaked out, then retracted and flaunted in your face without any message for this organization to its fan base, who, by the way, is the biggest reason why you might get a new stadium, who, by the way, is the biggest reason why you stand where you are. It's a showcase of complete, utter politics. The politics of the end of the game, taking knees. Yeah, that's a smart play when you're trying to get to the playoffs. When you're a hapless team, how about challenge your offensive line to put one in the end zone and establish a personality that isn't a goddamn pussy? That's right. That's what I see. The Chicago Bears have been run too long by a man who doesn't understand how to be a leader of men. And when you have that and you're friends with all of these players, you end up being the ousted one that no one cares for, that everyone's whispering in the corner that you're overwhelmed in your job. You're not the leader of men. You didn't want Justin Fields to be the starting quarterback. The owner had to come to you and tell you he needed to be. When anybody worth a damn of football sense knows that Justin Fields is the clear-cut direction of how you're going to ever become a consistent winner. He's the answer. He's QB1. And it's not because he wears the number. It's because he is QB1. These are things that just continue to show themselves on a day where everything should be happy. And if you're a fan of the Chicago Bears and you subtly read news clipping and stats, then you're happy they won today. But guys that love this game, understand this game, and our guest that's going to be on this show that put his heart and soul and passion into the game, that played for Coach Ditka, that saw how hard everybody works in unison, never complaining. This is a job. This isn't a guy that goes on social media talking shit about not wanting to tackle. This is a guy, and every person in this locker room should understand that. There is no tone set. Chris Zorich will set a tone on this show. But I will say this, Coach Nagy's Bears, to me, to my father, to Shane, and to everybody texting me nonstop, from Jim Larison, who was at the game watching this shit show, to friends, the former players like Dante Jones and Lemuel Stinson texting during the game. It is an embarrassment to watch the Bears not give a damn and still win. And still win. That's how far this talent on this roster goes. Shane, on the national stage with the country and the world watching football, if so, maybe not the world, but the country definitely. They got nothing else to do but turkey, rolls, gravy, potatoes, and whatever else you have. And the Chicago Bears are up there like a laughing stock, like a gimmick on Saturday Night Live. And it's an unfortunate place that we have to be. And there'll be people out, there'll be blog boys out there telling, wait a second, he won today. He won today. Did he? Did he win? That's my question. So much to get into. That, Shane, is my rant here.
Hey, you know, we got to, at least we're not Lions fans. Right.
Well, 10-1 Lions bring you into the fourth quarter. That's the reality, Dad.
Phil, you brought up a great point during your rant. I'd like to have your dad chime in on this,
sure,
if he can. At the end, when they're kneeling the football with over a minute left, when you have a running back like David Montgomery, I mean, I don't know, man. I didn't agree. I understand the thought process, but man, I'm handing it off to my best offensive weapon to make some headway there. I don't know, Coach, how you feel about it.
I felt the same way. I told Phil he ought to be running that ball with that great running back, and don't make a big G in front of that. He is a great running back. And by golly, if they didn't have any offensive linemen in front of me, he'd still score.
Right. He gives maximum effort. That's right. I look at my dad and he's like, they're taking knees here?
Yeah.
Like, this is an opportunity for you to set a tone. This is the same coach, Shane, that didn't defend the horrific penalties in Pittsburgh. This is the same head coach that heard Aaron Rodgers say, I fucking own you. I own you, and had no comment about that. This is what the Chicago Bears have become under Nagy. They have become, I know my family's watching and I said the P word, so I'm not going to say it again, but they have become soft as puppy shit. They have become a afterthought. And the team is a reflection of the head coach. You taught me that. And it just kills me inside to watch this football team wallow in the mires of mediocrity and below. It's not even mediocrity. It's just complete and utter, let's play it safe. Let's not fire anybody. We've done this for 101 years. We've got one Super Bowl to show for. Guess what? Your old man would be rolling over in his fucking grave watching you continue on this journey with negativity that you got running this organization. Have some brains and you know what? Some cojones. And get rid of this guy and the distraction that he's become. Because as Shane has told you, any Nagy fan now is just a contrarian that doesn't know a damn thing about football.
Oh, it's started already on Twitter. I mean, I'm going back and forth literally as we speak with a guy on Twitter right now saying that if you think Matt Nagy is the problem with his team, you better learn football. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep,
who taught him football? The freaking, he learned football with the fucking mechanical football that vibrates. Oh, that's how it works. It's like, get out of here. Matt Nagy is the biggest problem. Matt Nagy's the biggest problem. Am I right?
Oh, I think so, without a doubt. No, but listen, I want to interject for a second. I don't want to embarrass the Detroit Lions. That was their Super Bowl today.
Right.
They wanted to play hard, and they did play hard. There's no doubt about it. But let me tell you something. I saw Jim Brown didn't need a substitute. You got one of the greatest running backs in the league, if not the best running back. I want to tell you, he's done this year without a great offensive line, a poor center and a poor right tackle. Oh, finally, we got somebody in there from Missouri to do the job.
Poor.
That's right. What a guy. But I want to tell you something. He should be carrying every opportunity he has because he is the best.
You get fired up like me for David Montgomery.
I'm telling you.
We also get fired up. We got to bring this guy in now, Shane. I mean, former Chicago Bear, friend of the show. He's on our network, for God's sake, Shane. It's Turkey Day. Former Golden Domer. There's got to be Notre Dame fans. There he is. Chris Zorich. As my alarm goes off for you, Chris.
Oh, I'm honored. Your alarm.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hello, sir. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, just call me Coach.
Yes, sir.
At 37 years, I deserve that one anyway.
Yes, sir, Coach.
Okay.
Chris,
listen, I watch you play at Notre Dame. I watch you with Chicago. You're a great player.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Coach.
You caught yourself mid-sentence. That's good. You did what Nagy can't do. You adjusted. Chris, you've watched it out there. You've been a part of this game of football, obviously, your whole life almost. But the Bears, you've been a part of the Turkey Day. What'd you think today? I mean, are you with us here? It just seemed like the Chicago Bears were going through the motions today.
Yeah, it's really a shame. I mean, first of all, I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. And I think your dad really talked about something that folks really don't realize is that this was Detroit's big game, right? I mean, this is their Super Bowl, had a chance to be on national television, and really, I believe, fought harder than the Bears did. Now,
right.
They won a game this year, but the idea that you have another team out there that's fighting harder than you are on this day where there's only a couple of games on, I mean, you have the eyes of the nation kind of watching you, and you literally take a knee at the end of the game. I did not understand, and I had to rewind it a little bit. I was like, did somebody wait? What happened?
Exactly.
I don't understand. And again, I'm just a defensive idiot, right? But I would think that you go out there and you want to pound them, right? I mean, I don't know, Coach. What do you think?
I would run. First of all, he didn't have to score right there. All he had to do is run the ball and block those guys. Put the determination on the offensive line. Let them beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Walk away with great pride instead of ashamed of yourself kicking a field goal.
He wanted to get out of that losing streak, Chris, so bad that you went into a mode. Like, if this is the playoffs, strategy-wise, that's a smart play. But here's a hapless Lions team versus you, who have lost 5 in a row. So that just tells me that you are what I said. You're soft. And you sent a soft-ass message to the whole team and to former players. What's that?
The whole nation.
Yeah.
The whole nation. That we're going to do everything in our power to make sure we don't lose this game and win versus the line. How about you send a message to your locker room? You're tired of losing. Put it in the end zone.
Well, this is what I want to say, Phil, and I want to roll this clip that I got. It's going to be about a minute long, but you talk about sending the message to your locker room. I think that can also work in reverse, that maybe the locker room may have sent a message to the head coach, because after everything that went on this week, after the stories were breaking that Nagy was going to be out after this game, we have video of Matt Nagy coming onto the field with the players. And I would like to have your guys' reaction. This is about a minute long, but tell me what you think after watching this clip.
And now taking the field, the Chicago Bears led by head coach Matt Nagy.
get the point there. You see your head coach at the end of his rope of his coaching life, and you did not see one coach or one player after
Not
they
one.
announced your head coach, and the entire fan base booed him. Nobody walked up to Chris. If you legitimately as a player, if you believe in your coach, what are you doing in that moment running onto the field to your coach under those circumstances?
Well, first of all, I counted like 30 players that passed him.
Exactly.
Got it. So I mean, if that's not evident, and you also saw the assistant coaches, they were giving players high five, players were giving them high five. And that's really kind of indicative of what you're going to see. And it was interesting. During the week here in Chicago, I mean, they had I was sending Phil kind of all the clips I was hearing about, and they had a couple press conferences, and you can kind of tell in the press conferences where he was, right? So he was kind of talking, and you kind of knew that there was a conversation, and he just wanted to get through the press conference, just really to kind of get out of there, make sure everything was okay. I mean, if you have the confidence of the organization, you're going to be like, hell yeah, I'm good, let's go, But it was like, we're good. We're concentrating on the team. You just know that there's another conversation that that the public isn't privy to that's going on in the background.
Yeah, it is. My dad was over here laughing. He's like,
Loud and
they're
clear.
all
That's
passing him by. Like he doesn't
You
exist.
got nobody dapping up your coach in his moment of, hey, what about me, guys? But he's not even making an attempt. So that tells me that he already knows that was never going to be reciprocated. You know what I mean? He's not making any attempt.
If I could interject something, I'm going to go back just before the kick. And he took a knee. I said, oh my God, he's setting them up for a block.
Yeah.
They'll set it. The block kick. What would you think of that happening?
Oh my God.
It would be the Chicago Bear way. It would honestly.
Exactly. And I'm saying you don't do that just because of that.
Yeah. You don't take a chance on
because there's going to be a lot of people who are saying that he's going to try to win the game by the kick. But let me tell you, that could backfire into you. You got, and I said it before, you got a great running back. I don't know if he's the greatest, but he is a great running back. I mean, there's, people that you call great, you just watch them on film and it's just a test. You put the checks next to the blocks, the runs, and you feel there's the greatness. And then you got the average guy that's given it everything he has, but he's not that kind of greatness.
You have a 5-game losing streak with your backup quarterback on the road with a bunch of players out, and David Montgomery at halftime has 5 carries.
Exactly.
It makes no fucking sense.
It's a PFF understanding, and that's it. Those fucking blog boys get it. None of us do. Like the fact that Khalil Herbert, I posted it right away. I go, this is a coach. I'm so tired that puts Khalil Herbert in after David just trucked 2 guys, stiff-armed another, got dragged for 5 yards. Okay, it's 5 yards. Let's get another guy in there. That's just the wrong. Like he's doing it despite you, and you're not rewarding that and trying to build off that. It's just I've never seen anything like it. His misuse of personnel, his complete misunderstanding of how important the run game is. Formationally, forget about it. You got one play, you're in the eye, right? They got a hold, but they were in the eye. The very next play, they're in empty. Now we're in empty. Next play, we're in trips. Next, we throw it through the seam, Shane.
Yeah,
Jimmy Graham score. Never go back to the seam again. Not one time. Wait, I'm sorry, it's a near bird. We threw it in the seam short. It's like you can't make this up,
Chris. As a former player, and we all know the struggles and everything that's going on with the Chicago Bears. We know, but all of the Bears beat reporters are now reporting that Club Dub is open in the Chicago Bears locker room, and the music is blaring. I mean, it gives me douche chills just thinking about it. I can't imagine being there in that locker room as a fucking player. If I was a part of that fucking team, I would be smashing whatever has music coming out of it. And say, you got to be fucking kidding me. You guys got to be kidding me. I understand you guys are putting your lives on the line and it's a brotherhood, but holy shit, you talk about some false friggin' praise and positivity. That it's just, you got to be able to read the situation as far as I'm concerned, and they're not doing it.
Well, and I think Tim was hilarious because I never heard douche chills before. So and same what you're talking about, if done right, should have taken place during the week of practice or during the 2 or 3 days of practice, because when you're talking about on game day, I mean, winning, it's such a thin margin in the NFL.
Right.
That, I mean, if you win by 2 points, if you win by a point, it's a win, right?
Yep.
And I mean, those guys will go ahead and celebrate, but the problem is all the stuff that's happening beforehand. When and again, these are all only reports that we heard in Chicago, but Nagy canceled the practice, one evening, and I'm trying to do the math. I'm like, well, they played Sunday, and now they only have like 3 days of practice. What the hell is he canceling practice for? But the idea that these players in this locker room, a win's a win, and the margin is so small. So when you have that, then yes, you're excited. Now, maybe the volume on Club Dub maybe at a 6 as opposed to like a 10, which I'm sure it's at now. But Shane, there are guys in the locker room kind of shaking their head, going, what the hell's going on here?
The leaders.
Let's realize that we beat a team that had no wins, where in the third part of the season, and we're celebrating the fact that we beat them by 2 points. Where are we at?
I have a big issue with it because there's two views here. You definitely, like Chris said, it's hard to win in the NFL. Obviously. And those guys, most of them bust their asses. I can't tell you who does and who does. We could just look at tape and say who's effort, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, there's an ownership here. And it goes back to naming captains. Me and you talked about this, Chris. And it's like the rotation of captains alone is a shit show, a showcase of no kind of understanding of how to lead men, because the rotation of captains allows for who's going to be the captain. There's no conduit to the coaching staff. There's no understanding. This is what we believe in, and these captains are supporting it no matter what. And they kind of police the locker room for you. If you're rotating, it's just okay, you go out and call the fucking coin toss. That's it. That's your role as a captain. It's coin toss captain. That's what it is. Unfortunately, that goes along the same lines as this Club Dub bullshit. Now, I'll say this if I was the head coach, there would be a Club Dub when we get to the playoffs. And that would be a celebration like no other that these guys would look forward to if that's what gets their goat, if that's the thing for them. There would definitely. But after every game, we would celebrate in togetherness that we did this and accomplished this. If your goal is motivating with fucking turnover garbage can and Club Dub and an ownership that's whatever and naming captains every week, then you've totally lost the understanding of what football means.
Your captain today tried to defer and they didn't even win the fucking toss.
And they joked about it. Chris, talk about captains alone.
The idea with the captains, the coach, you might be, I don't know your philosophy. I don't agree as well, Phil, but the idea with having kind of rotating captains is that you're able to kind of show leadership throughout the team, and you want to see individuals who are able to step up when called, right? So when I was playing, I mean, I knew who my leaders were. My leaders were Mike Singletary, Richard Dent, Steve McMichael, Trace Armstrong. I mean, those were the guys who were consistent in the locker room, right? But the idea of kind of spreading that leadership around, the concept is that you want to find other leaders. Again, this kind of goes way back to the years where now everybody gets a participation trophy, so now everybody has a chance to be captain. It's kind of that deal.
I understand your philosophy there, Chris, but I guess where I would push back on that a little bit is I totally understand you want to spread it around if it's deserved. Matt Nagy's philosophy is, we're going to Pittsburgh. Jesse James, you played there, so guess what? You're a captain.
Exactly.
Christian Jones, you played in Detroit. Guess what? You're a captain. Oprah Winfrey, you get a car. You get a car. It's a fucking circus.
You know the last person that did this, Chris? Mark Trestman.
Interesting.
This is what you hit it out of the park. In fact, better than I could have. The participation award. Yeah. You want to do that shit? Then you freaking call that mother up to in front of the team. This is the best guy on the practice squad this week. Give it up for this guy. And everybody gets up. This kid is playing his ass off. Khalil Mack, I know you're the captain, but if this guy was able to be captain, that's how you do it. The captains are Mike Singletary, because nobody's going to screw around. You think they're playing spitball, who goose the moose in the locker room?
Phil,
here they are.
Here comes
Here
Nagy.
they are. Here they are. Here's Nagy. Here we go.
Oh, good.
Let's see what
the wise.
He's going to give.
Concussion protocol. And then Roquan Smith has a hamstring, so we'll keep.
He always starts out, Dad, with
a foot. So that's where they're at. As far as the game, the only thing I can do is give complete appreciation and thanks to the players and coaches. I can't ask for anything more. I mean, this is a special group across the board, and obviously stating the obvious, we've been through some stuff, the distractions the last couple of days, but it just proves to who they are. I mean, what type of fighters they are, what type of winners they are, and it's. There's just an appreciation that I and we as coaches have for them.
Is he reading this from a script? I mean, what are we doing?
When you look at the game, I want to compliment Detroit. I know it's not easy, but at the same point in time, I know that
Shane, can you make it big?
Players, and that was a difficult game. Guys stepping up for us across the board, whether it's guys heading into the game with where we were in different phases, or whether it was guys like Roquan getting hurt and other guys coming in. The defense to be able to do what they did, all but 2 drives. I think when you look at the numbers, they were pretty impressive. They got that.
The defense, what they were able to do, all but 2 drives.
Special teams wise for us, we
just leave it at that.
I thought we did a good job of field position the entire game, and then Cairo, the rest of the group to win it at the end with the field goal special.
Let's see how the media handles this, Chris.
Credit to Andy Dalton.
My first question would be, why the kneel downs? Why the kneel downs?
We're gonna have to go back and look at the tape on that. I'm not sure.
No, I think he'll answer it. I want to fucking see why the kneel down.
Just shows who they are.
It just shows who we are with all the distractions this week.
Is a credit to Andy and the rest of those guys.
You know who we hired? We hired the dude who loves Texas, Matthew McConaughey.
And,
just not as good looking, has no hair, and is probably the worst actor you ever see because he can't play a head coach. We are Marshall.
Yeah, I think,
McConaughey did a better job.
Again, everybody understands that the last couple of days with the distractions that we had, that we fought through it.
What distractions, Coach?
You can go ahead and ask me what the question is specifically. There was a report that came out that was false. And that's where it was false.
Holy shit! This is the Bears.
Days, and we had our practices like we normally would, and I cleared it up with the team.
God,
and then, as I think everybody is aware, the next day.
The reports that they say I'm fired. That's what you say.
And confirmed that was true. And we went about our business.
This guy is. Oh, I can't believe this is real. No, this is a Saturday Night Live skit. Come to life.
I care about, because they're the ones that are out there.
What distractions?
All their time and energy to get this win.
Oh my
God. They
deserve
this. When you lose 5 games,
this is his comedy show, Daniel.
That's it. Because you never know what can happen from there. And so when there's distractions, which is in every sport in all facets of life.
Distractions is his new
It's how you handle it.
obsession.
And again, we got
The
the win
why.
today, and it could have went a lot of different ways. But the reason why we got the win is because of how they handled the distractions, you know. And again, that's
smiling
where,
about when he's talking about. He's smiling.
You're in
He's
this
smiling
business
about it.
and you lead people. It's my job to make sure of honest and open communication.
There's two giant
that's where,
questions.
for me,
Why
I just
the
can't
kneel
tell you how much
downs?
this win means today to me.
Why
because of what they did.
the club dub?
Nobody's going to ask him that question.
Just exactly that it was not a true report. It was false.
It was not a true report.
Again, I'm not going to, in fairness to, I think everybody can understand that's an internal discussion that we have. But the biggest part of that discussion was that, and now the next part of that is when you have that is now me making sure that we don't have too much of a distraction take away from practice. You know what I mean? From practice and from everything else you got to do that
Coach,
day.
you had a great week of
it
practice,
didn't.
I'm
So,
sure.
That's
Christ.
that's about what that was. No, not at all. Completely on his own, and I thought it was really well received. Again, I don't wish anything. I just know that that I was there that day to be able to go out there and lead those guys in practice and try to focus to do everything we can do to win this game.
This
today.
guy's smiling.
Anything
just
else that happens, I got people that work.
It's as bad as
that
Andy
know
last
what's
week.
going on outside of that building, that they tell me, okay, here's the deal, and that's it. And I go about
Someone
it that way. And then,
in the media should ask him.
I listen
Have you
to
found the
what they
whys
had to
yet?
say, and,
Have you found them?
I think it's important.
It's been
in
4
these type of
years.
times that you're very open with your players. I've taken a lot of time and effort to build relationships over the 3.5 years I've been here for these moments, because what happens is then people try to tear you down. They try to rip you apart. They think you're vulnerable.
Coach,
and I think today
no
we just
one's
proved that we're not.
ripping you
We're-
down
we got guys to
personally.
fight.
In 46 games that you've coached as an offensive guy, how many times has he scored over 20 points? Maybe 3?
Again, it's a distraction that you have to deal with, but if you make it too big of a distraction, it can affect you.
You're a multi-millionaire from football in this position. Don't act like you're some sort of person we have to feel sorry for because it's a distraction. You know what it should have been a distraction is you actually leaving
when you have a
Hallis
great
Hall.
support system, which I always talk about. I tell you,
This is
my
a
family,
terrible
friends, and people in
showcase.
that building that
This
have
guy's
that
not a
support
coach.
That's
He's
all
a
you need. And people around the
QB
league,
coach
you know what I
at
mean? So
best.
when you got other coaches and people from other teams that you talk to that are there to support you, when you have people inside our building, when you have family and friends as strong
You're
as my
supposed to
family and
blow
friends,
Detroit out
it's
30 to
it's
nothing.
pretty powerful. You know what I mean? So
Can't do it.
Again, it's
You fucking took knees for a field goal.
If I couldn't
Come
handle
on.
it,
Let's
I would've
keep
never
it
signed up
100
to
here.
take this job. But I can
Imagine
handle it,
being
you know
the
what I mean?
head
So
coach of the
that's what-
charter
and then
franchise.
That's selfishly looking at it. But for me as a leader with this team,
Distractions.
I'll roll with that group.
You're
of
the
guys in that locker room
distraction.
right now,
They're only a
players and coaches,
distraction because you
I'll put
suck.
them up against anybody.
And your
I love
team
them
doesn't
to
listen
death,
to
and,
you. And no one
they're
cares. That's the
warriors, man. They know how to
distraction.
win, you
The
know?
owners
They're
are a
not losers, they know how to
distraction because they
win.
can't do the right thing. You're still here talking like you're a coach. Take some knees. This guy couldn't
it's just
coach
joy.
a
You know what I
soccer
mean?
team on
It's,
Saturdays.
For us, this is
coach.
The biggest part for me, and I'm not built this way about being selfish. This is about the team. This is selfless for them. You know, those guys are the ones out there practicing every single day, trying to fight like
When
hell.
you
to get
tell
a win.
people
It's
that
hard.
you're
You
a
don't get
selfless
half
person,
losses and half
I
wins
mean,
in this league. You either win or you lose.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I think that's
We had
an
two close
attribute
ones
that
the last
people.
2
Chris,
weeks.
you're
But I knew,
100%
Difference
right.
If you win those, we didn't.
You're 100%
But we won
right.
today. So you can't take that away from those guys, you know? So there's a joy in
Whoever
that locker room,
leaked
and they're allowed to
that
have
they were
They're
going
gonna have a
to
great
fire
Thanksgiving
him,
today because they
the
earned
Bears
it.
organization
fought like
themselves
hell, and
should have addressed
they
that
told me what they were gonna
publicly.
do,
We
and they
do
did it.
not
How
plan,
cool is that?
but instead they go into private meetings with this guy to reassure him he's there because it's
do.
politics.
And
you don't want to
again,
look
and not-
bad for
not
the
just
next
me,
coach.
the other
Bye.
part of this too is,
Goodbye.
as
Fire
Ryan
him.
and I do this
Move
thing
on.
together, they
Ryan,
rally around all
if
of
I
us.
hear
I mean,
Ryan,
and not just
Ryan
me,
and
the
I,
coaches,
come on.
because
This is a
there's a lot
freaking
of
terrible,
on the
terribly
coaching world, you
run
have assistant
organization with all
coaches,
of
right?
you.
So we're all a part of this thing. And,
Yeah,
and so their
exactly.
players
Perfect
are,
timing.
we're all working together here, and I think that's what's impressive.
Yeah.
Both. You felt it was easy to feel. And again, it's.
Do you deserve to be the head coach of this
like
football team? Ask them.
There's
Do you
things
feel
that,
as though
that
you
we have
deserve?
and that we keep.
Coach,
from,
what
that
have
we
you
just,
established
in
here
different ways,
culturally?
organically,
These are the
whether
questions.
it's an individual discussion.
What have
or
you
whether it's
done
a
here
discussion,
offensively
you
that makes
work
us
with each
believe
other.
in you?
And that's
All right.
That feels pretty good.
Exactly. That's who he is. I got
Well,
the
they always
job. I
say they're gonna
got
win.
paid,
You
and
know what I
I'm
mean?
still getting
They
paid.
always
There
say
you
they're going to
go.
win, and that's what we always want to believe. But I think more than anything, without getting into major
I would
detail,
be
there was a
so.
lot of,
I would be
there was a lot
infuriated
of
if I
love
was
and
the head
support,
coach.
which again,
I can't believe we only won by 2. Last one, guys. No more. Now, one question about the knees. Now,
Again,
one.
For me, there's only my understanding, which is what it's been since the day I signed up to be this coach, is to win as many games as I can possibly win and do it the right way. And when you lose 5 games in a row, you understand, and when you're
We got out of that 5 game.
you know what territory
We're gonna
you know
use
what I mean?
that.
And that comes with
Collaborate.
with the job. And so I knew that.
I would
4
love
years ago
some
when I did
honesty
this.
out of you,
And
Coach,
so here we are.
and you can't do it.
Every week is a little bit different.
Can't get it from
this
you.
One was
The
definitely
media
different.
won't let him.
But this is one
The
of those
media
weeks where,
doesn't even ask him.
That's
you
what I'm
use it
saying.
moving forward, and you don't make any predictions. But what you do is you use it when you go home on that plane tonight. Everyone's having a good time because they're able to celebrate.
Who's having a good time with 4 fucking wins?
Get
Are you
back
kidding me?
healthy and
And a
understand
kneel
the
down
game
with a
that
field
the
goal
only thing
kicker.
that matters is Arizona coming up.
Are
That's
you
it.
kidding me?
So again,
Only
for
thing that
me,
matters is
the
Arizona.
only thing I can say
Oh
to
my
those players
God.
is that I appreciate them, and we got a hell of a group of guys.
Every one of those players
and
ran
coaches,
by
and they
you
showed it today by
exactly
getting
how the Bears should have. Never hired you to showcase. And the media, you're terrible. You're terrible, all of you. One question needed to be asked. Just one. We got a nice looking Thanksgiving turkey here. Look at this. Some jive turkey coming from Nagy. Shane, Chris, it infuriates me because you're the charter franchise and you're a laughingstock around the NFL. Everybody's making fun of you. I joked about it. The Italian lady in Italy, they don't know football. They just know Nagy sucks. That's it. Everybody knows except the Bears. And as soon as you thought, after 101 years of doing the same shit, like that's a badge of honor, that you were going to do the right thing and say, you know what? Enough is enough. The players have tuned him out. Nobody likes him in the locker room. I've been told by many people that he's lost the locker room. This was 4 weeks ago. We're still here. The big report comes out, and I'm like, finally, after 101 years, this team's going to be ahead of the curve and regroup and understand that this kid, QB1, Justin Fields, is so important to this. We got pieces here. We got to do something different. We got the wrong head coach. He can't figure out his identity. If God himself said, here's your identity, he'd be looking for the other play sheet to run some more pass plays. It's that simple, but the Chicago Bears continue to trot this guy out. Is that a leader of men? That's a coward making excuses up. You
Well,
don't
we have club dub, I know, against a winless team.
Yeah, great.
Exactly. Imagine, like, it goes back to Kyle Long. He leaves this organization. He immediately takes shots at Nagy. Every freaking player that leaves this organization immediately lets loose on Nagy. That stuff doesn't happen when you respect the head coach. It happens because you know you're an accident. Remember those fucking dummies driving the car, the test dummies? That's him. They have continued to just throw him out there, and it's unfortunate because, like my dad said, like I've said for 4 years now, it was Jordan Howard. He couldn't figure out how to run the ball, use Jordan Howard, extend plays, help Mitch Trubisky out. Nope, couldn't do that. Now it's David Montgomery, who on tape, you just look at it, you're like, oh my God, this kid is unbelievable. They can't even block solid block something and start moving people. It's a travesty in my mind. It's I don't want to hear any excuses made for this guy. I don't feel sorry for any coach on the NFL level. They have been paid handsomely. It's not like this is a high school coach who's working over 20,000 hours, getting paid $4,000, whatever the heck he's getting paid. This guy's a multi-millionaire.
No, that was where we came. That was where we came from. You and I.
Well, imagine if Detroit didn't have 10 penalties.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh my God! And to sit and watch him celebrate this win on the plane or whatever he's talking about. Well,
it's going to be interesting to see because after, within the next 24 hours, ChicagoBears.com always releases the coach speech to the locker room after a win. Yeah, they always do that. So that's going to be interesting to see what the reaction is there. They're probably going to be like, can you just shut the fuck up so we can do Club Dub already? At this point.
Oh my God.
Well, listen, a great quarterback didn't play today. I don't expect him to play for the rest of the year. And I don't think that's the coach's decision. I think the owners don't want this guy to screw him up. That's it.
Jay Glazer had breaking news literally right before the game and said that the Bears fully expect Justin Fields to be under center next week versus Arizona.
There you go. He'll be back next week to get hurt or whatever. What's that?
With cracked ribs?
Yeah.
Ribs on a 4-win team?
Yeah.
That's what we don't understand, Chris.
But Chris, we collaborated and they dug themselves out of that 5-game skid. So they showed resiliency and they showed heart. They showed the Chicago Bear way.
It's a 2-point win over a winless team.
Wait till we wake up tomorrow morning and they give this motherfucker a contract extension.
Oh my God.
What are the whys, right? What are the whys?
What are the whys? What are the whys? The whys always line up at some point, and this is the why.
Ryan and Matt are men of character. They are both, like Ted, outstanding leaders. I've been most impressed with how well they collaborate.
As he reads this script on how they collaborate, Ryan and Matt.
Fuck the wins. Fuck the wins. They talk real good together.
They're great leaders. They collaborate. All of these things that mean nothing when it comes to Sundays in the fall. This football team, the Chicago Bears, when you take all of the menacing showcases of lackluster performances, there's enough talent on this football team to be better. Last week we heard Nagy saying, oh, if we only did this against the Steelers, if we only did this against Green Bay, if you look back, if we had done this, that's not how it works, coach. The fans could do that. You are right there putting together the plan. And you're the one responsible for all those what ifs and whys. The whys is on him. He can't be a wise man and just leave. So he's going to stay there and just continue to run this ship like the Titanic into the giant iceberg. I don't know what else to say. I mean, we have everything. We got this in the game. Top 15 centers just throwing. Let's just throw it. We got penalties, drops. We got interceptions in the red zone. We have the worst or fifth worst. Probably today we have the second worst red zone offense. We got excuses. We have a win and club dub on top of all of these things. And that's the problem. A real leader of men doesn't allow club dub because he expects better from his players. He expects better from himself. He doesn't initiate and tell everyone, a selfless guy like myself, this This is a tragedy, and it's unfortunate that it plays out with the Charter franchise, one in which you played for. I mean, you've been a part of these Turkey Day games. Are they hard to get up for because it's a midweek game, or is it similar to a Sunday game and the nation's watching? Does that play into it, Chris?
Well, a lot of it, I mean, really, in a perfect world, all your games would be on Sunday at noon.
Right.
It's when they start throwing the Monday night games, the Thursday games, the special games, Thanksgiving ones. I mean, you want to be part of that tradition at the end of the day, but it's kind of like, who do we have the week before? Because you're going to have a small week or short week, right? So going into these games and knowing that you're going to be one of only 2 games, I mean, it's like being on Monday Night Football, right? You have a chance to kind of showcase your talent. And if you're going to be a free agent next year or after the season, this is a chance for everybody to see what you can do. And that's the hard part is during the week of practice, because now it's shortened. Now you don't have enough time to heal if you're injured. So oftentimes people want to stay away from these Thursday or Thanksgiving games, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's really not going to make that big of a difference if you don't do it like every other year or every 3 or 4 years. It's just something that kind of takes you out of the norm.
Yeah, I watched a game where you win, right? The Chicago Bears win, but does it feel like a win? I mean, that's the question that I beg to ask. It feels like the Lions are the worst team in the NFL. Everybody knows it. Here, you have a coach with the distractions, Chris. Distractions. Who lets them be distractions? Not me. If this game mattered and meant everything, if those players came out of there high-fiving this coach, showing we're playing for you, we want to save your job. None of that is happening. Your penalties, bad snaps, interceptions, fumbles, miscommunications on punt team, everything that continuously happens, coached by Matt Nagy, happened today, but he's not the problem. Okay. I don't know what to tell you.
How would you feel if I told you that Justin Fields participated in Club Dub today?
With broken ribs?
Yeah, how would you feel about that?
I would feel like that's very shitty.
This is Big Cheese. This is Christian Jones live from the locker room.
Live from the locker room, Chris. Christian Jones on the...
Are you serious?
Here comes Justin Fields. There's Justin.
Come on, this is not live. You're kidding me,
No.
right?
This is it. That's Christian Jones. Yeah. This is where we're at.
Justin Fields right there.
This is what happens when you have a community of leaders. Community of captains.
Yeah.
You're a captain. You're a captain. I mean, that's what it is.
Well, all those guys are captains.
Yeah.
There's the captain's filming the thing. Play it one more time, Shane. Here's the punter. He's doing flags. There's your 3rd string quarterback. Yep. There's your long snapper. There's your backup running back.
Jimmy Graham's at his locker. He's not doing anything, but here comes
You would have thought they
Justin.
won the first round of playoffs, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. There's Justin Fields right there. Oh my God.
It's like Notre Dame won the Pouline Weed Eater Bowl right there. People are going fucking crazy. Oh shit, Zor's out with us.
There's a lot of similarities though. Phil and I talked about this. They had 7 captains this year.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, who wasn't elected captain? At that point, right? I mean, I thought there was like offense, defense, special teams, maybe 4, but 7, but again, it just kind of shows that generational thing. I mean, my high school coach would have beat the crap out. I mean, we probably would have practiced at the stadium after the game if we beat a team that didn't win a game and we only won by 2 points. We would have been practicing there.
Right.
My high school coach would have beat the shit out of us in no water, nothing. He beat the crap out of us. And instead, we got professional athletes.
Sounds like my high school coach.
Hey, this brings up a question here. Are you concerned because this young player, the future of your franchise, is becoming a part of this culture? So you see him there, supposedly injured, ribs. He's dancing there at the very end of that clip. Do you get concerned that this culture then makes this kind of stuff okay, and then you lose players because this kind of, I don't even know what this is called. Like when you've lost.
I don't think you should join into that. I think they won the game. Those
Right.
guys deserve to have a little fun.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that. Don't make a big issue out of this. I don't think it is. It
Okay.
should be.
Well,
but let me tell you this. They
my
have
point is,
nothing
though,
to play for.
Right.
They have nothing to play for now. What are they going to win? They're not going to make the playoffs.
We had Josh Woods on the show with us, who actually plays for Detroit now, and we got into the club dub debate. And part of me agrees with you, Coach. I mean, yeah, it's you're pouring everything you've got, and any win in the NFL, you want to be able to celebrate. My thing is, if you're going to do it privately. Why share all of it out there worldwide?
Right. Well, he shared it. The coach is probably wanting to film that.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. If Josh said, "Hey, what we do in the locker room, that's our business." Well, it's not your business anymore when you're putting it out there for everybody that subscribes to your account or follows you to see. That's, to me, that there's a delineation there.
Maybe there's a split in their feelings.
Right, and you saw
some of the guys don't want to be a part of that with that dancing.
Well, that's what you saw. That's what George is saying. If there's captains
during the game, Darnell Mooney, and who knows if it came from him, it came from his Twitter account, promoting all of his swag with a discount code during the game, right after he had a big catch. And instantly everybody replied to it, bro, there's a timeout on the field and you're tweeting this shit out from the sideline. And then it was instantly deleted.
I'm sure he's not.
I'm sure it wasn't him.
Person.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
That's
but still, but they deleted it instantly. And it's just, it's like, oh, speaking of Darnell, he's at the podium. I don't know if you want to hear from him or not.
Probably not. What are we going to hear?
The comment I have is in this whole club dub thing. I mean, does New England do that? I mean, do teams that win on a consistent basis, do they treat each game like it's a playoff game, like they won the Super Bowl, or is it a regular Sunday for them? And that's the thing. I mean, I think that's where leadership culture comes in. And I understand what you're talking about, Phil, but I think eventually, when there's a coaching change, the culture will change. And Fields is a rookie; he's a young kid. He might not know, the significance of what he's, showing him on there after, you beat a horrible team. But kind of go with your dad. I mean, this is something that, as I said before, it's really hard to win in the NFL, which also means that it's also hard to lose that bad in the NFL as well, right?
We're Bears fans. We know it's hard to win, Chris.
So when you beat a team that hasn't won barely by choice, right? I mean, you can go out and you say, "Hey, let's go prove our dominance. Let's go out there and get these guys, and let's roll for our confidence for next game." But instead, feel like you were saying, we take it. Like I said, I was trying to rewind. Did something happen? Like I was trying to rewind to see.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't understand it.
Hila was sitting here watching the game with me, and I mean, she's not into football at all, like I am. She's like, why are they not running the football? Why are they not running the football here? And I'm like, hey, if you're figuring it out,
let me know.
Doesn't say too much for Mr. Visor.
I think imagine the guys in the huddle when the play's called. They're like, "We're gonna do what?"
Yeah.
Wait. Say what?
What does that do to David Montgomery? What goes through your lead tailback's head when that call comes in? We don't believe in you. We don't believe in the offensive line to block this up, but we're gonna. I mean, Jesus.
I don't get it.
Was anybody else scared when Santos lined up the 53-yarder? To me, when was the last time you saw a 53-yarder 8 yards short
like that? I couldn't believe he hit it so short. I'm like, what?
It was true, and I'm like, oh man, that's not gonna make
I
it.
thought
and
he
boom.
buried that,
Me too.
and it's short. I'm like,
I
wow.
went through a couple of 4-12 seasons with Dave Wannstedt,
Yep.
and you lose the locker room quickly,
Sure.
but as you see what happens, I mean, you're professionals, and you want to get paid, and you don't want to look horrible at your position. So if the whole game plan sucks, that's on the coach, but you may perform well. So you feel good about yourself. That's what I mean. You're a professional athlete. You can go out there and win on a weekly basis. The problem is that when guys go home, they sit and talk to their friends. I mean, now social media is insane. We obviously didn't have that back when I was playing, but the idea that these guys understand, they know what's happening, and when a play comes in and we're going to take a knee, what? I mean, we just went out here and we played for 45 minutes, or I'm sorry, 55 minutes. The last couple of seconds, we're going to take a knee. Are you kidding me? Let's reward ourselves.
Exactly. I had a big issue with it. I think you guys are right. I think Justin's in the moment. So Chris, you make a great point. He's just being a part of what they're doing and celebrating there. But I just think this is another reason why this team has to move on from this kind of culture.
You think Club Dub's going to be rolling next week when they play the Cardinals?
This is a team that can embarrass you real bad.
Yo, you're damn right. Yeah.
Exactly. You barely beat the
Lions. Playing Jared Goff next week. I'll tell you that.
You barely beat the Lions. You do it in a fashion with sloppy at best. You also have all of these penalties and miscommunications and the same thing going on. You had a timeout when they had 12 men on the field and the opponent was calling timeout. Your head coach calls a time. You can't make that up if I tried, but some asshole out there is going to excuse this guy and say, no, he's not the problem. He is the one running this ship to the ground. It infuriates me beyond, because when I have the answers and I show it on tape and then it's there and then everybody runs with it and they forget who's responsible for it. I know, Shane, you got to go.
I do. I got to go.
Thanksgiving.
I got people here and I have some responsibilities in the kitchen. So
you want to say a final thought?
Yeah, I do. No, hey, a W is a W, and I will say this. I'm a little bit happier. It makes me feel a lot better no matter who it was, no matter what happened. Getting a W is much more sweeter than hanging out the rest of Thanksgiving after a loss to the Detroit Lions. And, it makes that draft pick that the Giants get of ours a little bit worse. So that does make me feel a little bit better, but I'm glad I got to chop it up with you guys. Chris, welcome to the network. We love having you. I'm glad you got to come on BHL with us for a little bit. I know the fans were really excited, and the chat is still rocking on Thanksgiving Day, man. We got to love the loyalty of all of our fans, but I got to get my ass upstairs and get some of this food rolling before I get kicked out. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy some family, enjoy some good food, and maybe a couple hot toddies. I know that's what I'm going to go upstairs and have a couple of those too. So have fun. There's not going to be any Club Dub in the Marsaw house, but we're going to have fun anyway.
Hey, I love to Riley.
Yes.
Thank you, Coach. Yep. I love you
guys. I tell you something. I pray for him every night.
Appreciate it.
I won't forget.
Yeah.
Cancer free and survive.
Absolutely. That hair's starting to peek back through now too, so he's excited about that. He's like, I think I'm going to start combing my hair, and I'm like, well, we can't grab it yet. I don't know if that's going to work, but yeah. So, all right, I love you guys.
All right, guys.
I'll see you soon.
Happy Thanksgiving, Shane.
Yeah,
Shane Marsaw, the smartest man. It's Thanksgiving Day here, and we go back a little bit, Chris. You were able to get the Churdunkin, right? You had a piece of that. All John Madden brought that to the table. What was that like? Did you ever get to meet John Madden? I know he was a big fan of yours.
I was fortunate enough, yes. And so the idea, I don't think it turned into turducken when I was still playing, because at that point, I think there were only they only attached a couple more legs on to the bird, and then after that, it became like this whole science project where they were actually cooking a duck inside the turkey and stuff like that. So that's kind of crazy. But that was an amazing experience because at that point that was all about tradition. And I mean, John Madden is who he was and what the program was about. And anytime a guy made the All Madden, making All Pro was cool because that was part of your contract. You got paid, you went to Hawaii. But making All Madden, you can kind of brag about it. And that was one of those things where everybody who had a chance to play on Thanksgiving wanted to have a chance to be part of that elite process. They wanted to play well, so you have a chance to kind of talk with Madden and Summerall and have a chance to have a turkey in your hand. So that was the coolest thing because I grew up watching it, and I never thought I'd be part of it. And we had a chance to shut down Barry Sanders. I think we held him to like 60 yards or something like that, and we actually won. Yeah.
There you are.
So
there you
Michael had a sack. Trace Armstrong had two. Rich, I think a sack and a half or two. Richard Dent had one. I had one. I mean, it was just an amazing game. And to keep someone like Barry Sanders, who's obviously one of the best running backs ever played a game, to about 60 yards was an amazing game. Now, granted, we only won by, I think, like a touchdown or something like that, but, we did win.
Yeah, I heard Troy.
I have experience with John Madden.
Do you?
I was in Westchester County. It was at a clinic.
Yeah.
We always go to this clinic year in and out. He's on the menu. I said, oh my God, this is going to be great.
He's on the menu to talk. To talk, not as a meal.
Okay. So
just
he ends
clarifying that for the millennials.
So anyway, he gets up there and he says, I don't fly.
Mm-hmm.
And I came by bus from the West Coast to the East Coast. And he said, I came here because Bear Bryant is speaking. I've never heard him speak and I want to meet him. So that was a big treat. I got to see both of those men. But at noontime, they always had a dinner for us. You had a lobster dinner.
Wow.
They really, this thing was tremendous. It was done in the Union Hall in Elmsford, New York. And he comes out and he's looking for somewhere to sit. Now, my assistant coach, Sean Meehan, hates Madden.
Hates him.
Hey, he says, I can't stand this guy. So here comes Madden. And he said, do you mind if I could sit with you guys? Well, I get up, I said, you sure can. You got a guy right here who loves you. He sits down. It was so funny, I'm telling you. But he had us peeing in our pants. For the whole hour, it was half hour that we were there. He kept going with another one and another one and a new experience. Oh my God, was he funny? What a man.
Great man.
Great.
I miss him because for me, my childhood, aside from watching Chris Zorich, because if you're just tuning in, I was always a huge fan of Chris because of Chris's underdog story. I've talked about it on our show, the Super 16 Poll Show with Chris Zorich. Every Monday here on TTNL, Chris Zorich gives his top 16 college football teams every Monday with me. And Chris, that'll be back this Monday. Big weekend in college football, but back to this. John Madden was the voice of my childhood.
Yep.
I would, even if it was like Redskins Giants, I would be outside playing football till my cheeks were red and cold and come in and hear that voice, lay down on that couch, and that voice would just put me to sleep, make me laugh, make me hungry, whatever. I just miss him in the part of the game. He drew it up and coached it up, and he was so real. And that was the reality of it. I'm lucky that I have my dad alive at 81 with me. So he becomes my Madden now. Like, I mean, look what he's doing here. The center's got to step over here, come back on the backside. And I missed that. So my dad gives me that. And that's where my passion comes from, obviously, for this. I mean, it's the greatest game in the world. That's why we get so upset.
I got to share this. I had one of the best days, 2 days in my lifetime.
Yes.
I went to the Powder Puff game. There must have been 4,000, possibly 5,000
Oh, there's
people.
definitely over 5,000 people.
I'm telling you, it was unbelievable.
Couldn't
Here
move.
I got two grandchildren playing against each other.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable. And the one that's playing against us, Lyman Hall, is tremendous athlete, one of the greatest lacrosse players in the state of Connecticut.
Right.
And she is the
Proud
most
grandpa here.
Well, I know she's the third leading scorer in the state. She got, she was telling me 82 goals this year.
Yes.
82 goals. And she's playing cornerback, and she's stopping every play that's coming to her side.
Yep.
Getting the flag, making the tackle. So they decided to run away from her. So now my friend Nick calls me up, Eco, and he says, Phil, the coaches were all talking about your granddaughter. Probably she should have got, if we had the trophy, she'd be the outstanding player of the game. Really, she's tremendous. So I told her today, she comes walking up and I see her and I grab her. And this is at the football game now. And she gave me a big hug, and I got Phil and I introduced them to all the former players great players, kids that I consider some of the greatest players I've ever coached. And she was just one smile after the other, and she is beautiful, isn't she? I'm going to tell you something. She should be a model, never mind an athlete. She's really beautiful.
You're getting the family treatment here.
Okay,
on this
well, that's
show.
why I'm telling
Thanksgiving Day. What's the story there? You're sharing that.
I got two little guys from him.
Yes.
I look at them and I said, please, God, let me live so I could see them when they were in high school, so I could at least see them play, because they are going to be great. Then I have two now that one's at Xavier High School, and I think he's going to be a very good player. He might be a great player.
Yeah, I believe it.
And the other one is playing in junior league football, and this is the biggest kid that's in my family, okay? He is 6 foot tall. He's going to be 14 in May.
Jeez.
He's 165 pounds. Have you ever seen a kid that big?
Jeez.
Doctor projected that he might be 6'5". Now that kid, I said, you got to keep playing tight end and play defensive end. That's where you belong. You rush the passer and you make tight end so your father doesn't have to pay for your schooling. This kid's going to be a great one.
Coach Otoshi giving the family updates on Bears Hour.
I got to tell you that.
Hey,
I'm so proud.
We're all here. My wife did such a tremendous job with the meal today, Chris. And we were able to eat in the third quarter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were eating, watching the game. My wife's a saint like that, right? So we were watching the game, so we'd be ready for Bears Hour Live right after the game. Listen, we look back on this game today, though, in all seriousness. Roquan Smith gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You got him going out. You see a bunch of injuries happening. Was there a injury to Robert Quinn that I missed? As I see people asking in the chat, did Robert Quinn
see that?
I didn't
Like,
see.
in the last couple of games, he's been on fire, man. So
Man, unbelievable player. I mean, that one move he put outside, come under, and get to the running back in the backfield. I mean, that was I don't even know how you could teach that, what he did to that offensive tackle. And then obviously his pass rush. If you guys in the chat, did anyone see Robert Quinn get injured? I don't know, because I did not hear or see that he was. That would be a huge. You would now be out Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, Roquan Smith, and I didn't see him near the end of the game. That's why it brings up my curiosity.
You got 9 days to get well.
Yeah,
there was a play with Quinn that I was really impressed with. He came underneath, and the tackle was supposed to come around because it was a end tackle game, and he wound up coming under so far that he beat the tackle coming back around and actually got the running back coming under. So I think that's what you might be talking about, Phil.
That was the play I was talking about. I was like, you can't even teach that, Chris.
Yeah,
you can't even teach that.
Doing it.
And the tackle took a while to come around, and he wound up cutting back, like literally coming in and then just cutting kind of on a dime the opposite way to make it play. That's
unbelievable play. Barlissimo, George from across the pond.
Is here?
Yeah, he's in the chat room. He said he came back in on the final drive, so
Oh, okay.
figures George would know. That's my guy. George and my dad will be live on Saturday breaking down Lions and Bears on tape, giving you guys a look at that. If you're a patron,
12 o'clock.
You need to get over to tapeneverlies.com for that. If you want the in-depth breakdown, we actually did an in-depth breakdown, me and George, of Bears Ravens. And we're going to release that tomorrow and show you what you get on Patreon. Now, our patron side is going to be in-depth analysis leading up to the draft, obviously coach talk. I'll just put it for the record. Chris, do you see any chance? Obviously, he's not going to be fired now with all of the umbrella of this. George McCaskey comes out and saves. But do you have any belief that he keeps this job for next season? No.
And I was thinking, watching the game, I mean, what are the conversations that happened between Pace and Phillips, right? I mean,
right.
These are the conversations that obviously don't involve coaching or any other administrators. We're talking about the president and the GM. They sit down and have these conversations. And these are honest football conversations. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody wants to win. And you have to evaluate and say, hey, they've both been around football enough, right? And so
right.
when you have a team who you beat, who has not won a game, you don't beat them by 2 points.
Exactly.
As you mentioned earlier, you throw 30 up on them, right? You give your offensive line confidence. You give your team confidence. You give your defense the confidence. It's the whole team you want to give confidence to, right? And you don't do that by taking a knee, by winning by 2 points. And so when everybody's out of the building or whatever, those two have a conversation. That's what I think is going to really kind of show you what they think about the organization and the future of the organization, right? Because there have been so many mishaps in the last couple of years
right.
that in order to move forward, that they're not going to be able to win currently. And so those are the conversations that I would love to kind of hear, but those are honest conversations. That's going on. I mean, we all have our opinions about coaching staff and players and everything else, but at the end of the day, it's going to matter with those two guys. And we're going to sit down and evaluate and, hey, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. I mean, that should have happened a couple of years ago.
Exactly. And it's unfortunate because I feel like now, and there's a lot of haters out there, and I see them every day with this narrative about Justin Fields. And I see Justin Fields as the franchise quarterback. I don't see Matt Nagy utilizing this kid's talents appropriately. And thus, the great ones, they have the support system and the cast that opens up that player's performance as well as abilities and gives them the right scheme. For example, I'm a head coach of the Chicago Bears. There's no way number 17 isn't playing. You traded for this kid, Grant, right? He's not on the field more than number 10. Like, that would never happen in my book. Damiere Byrd, buddy, he's average at best. Grant, you saw him on the one play, he gets the ball and it explodes into the secondary, and he's like 5'8". I get it, but that kind of talent is hard to come by, and they don't scheme for these players. Like, when you look at Bill Belichick and offense and everything that you've seen, Wes Welker with the Chicago Bears would be nothing. That's the point that I'm trying to make to all of these Bears fans. I come from a football culture. I live in New England's background. I look at these coaches, and it's all a bunch of shoe salesmen that can call plays, but they can't scheme and teach and hold people accountable. And when you look at the tape, it's like that. So 17 is the perfect example of how, like, I'm going to motion him, Chris, make sure I got the right matchup with him on a guy that's lesser, and then he's going to wiggle and go inside out, whatever it is. And we're going to understand that's where we're going to football. But we're also going to have the option, if it's not there, to have the check. You saw Andy Dalton running. He's looking around. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's no check down. There's no intelligence when it comes to this offense. And it's been that way for Mitch. And it's that way for Justin Fields. And that's where this organization and what you said, the conversations between Ryan Pace and Ted Phillips, they tried to collaborate and save their asses, and they're at the same crossroads. This is year 3, Chris, of 4 or more losses in a row. That culturally is losing. It's not something that, we're excited because we went 8-9 last year and made the playoffs. That kind of stuff doesn't work for winning cultures or franchises. It's a loser's mentality to hide behind lies and untruths and use the playoffs and a 6-game losing streak as a shield. I can't say it any better. It's scheme, it's philosophy, it's all of it out there that's just nonsense. And the talent of the Bears won the game today, but not the coach. When was the last time that you, as a former player or just a fan now watching your Chicago Bears play, that you say, wow, those guys out-coached that team? When was the last time?
Yeah. Well, in Phil, you and I have talked about this, and it's, I mean, you really get what you pay for, right?
Right.
And so even if there is a coaching change next year, which I'm sure there'll be, I mean, historically, what have we done? I mean, what if
you hire an outside firm
and
they come in and they help you? Like, that's the problem.
Of John Fox, who was a head coach in the NFL and won a Super Bowl.
Right.
Mark Trestman was a head coach in the CFL.
Yes.
I think back since like Abe Gibran or before, they've all been assistant coaches. And I want to sound like a broken record because the last time I talked about this, is you get what you pay for. And so when you're willing to get somebody on the up, well, hey, he's going to be great. Well, why not pay for somebody who's great? Why not bring in somebody who has the experience of winning games as a head coach?
Exactly.
But if you're willing to pay for somebody on the cheap and say, well, we like to be, we like to find diamonds in the rough.
Right.
I mean, I'm all about the underdog, but the idea, if you've done this historically for, almost 100 years, I mean, decades.
101, Chris.
Again, I mean, this is what you get. So even if there is a change, I mean, it's going to be an up-and-coming assistant coach that's going to get the nod.
I hope not.
And hopefully it'll be on the higher end of what they get paid, but chances are it's going to be a middle of the road guy who may be like a / offensive coordinator, quarterback coach who may have only called a couple games.
Well, that's what they've done. You're right. If Dave Wanstead with you and you had that experience with him, he was the hot commodity. He'd never been a head coach. You have to have an understanding.
Go ahead. Lovey, I mean, even though Lovey took him to the Super Bowl, he was, I think, he was only getting paid like $1 million or maybe almost $1 million. I mean, he wasn't even a higher end assistant coach.
Exactly. Let me say this, and for those of you fans that just don't understand this, the Chicago Bears are worth over $4 billion, billion with a B. That's without owning their own stadium. That's with splitting the cost of parking and refreshments. If they get their own stadium, that $4 billion goes to $9 billion, and they'll be the most highly
most expensive franchise in all sports.
All of sports. They'll be the high, and it's rightfully so. But they're run like they're the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that's why I'm saying. And I know Dan Pompei has said it today after I've been saying, and Shane had said it before, and this network stands by it. I obviously have gone out and said Olin Kreutz is my guy to be the president of football operations. That's what they have to do. It has to be somebody who understands the organization. If it's former Bear Gary Fensick, I can go through guys that need to be a part of this process to establish, okay, I'm in charge of football operations. He doesn't have to be a businessman. He has to be somebody that has the presence of mind to know what Chris is saying. That, okay, he checks off some boxes, but is he a leader of men? I don't give two shits if Andy Reid gives him a tip of the cap. Andy Reid's not a great coach. I want a guy that I interview that has the tough questions. Mind you, this is an organization that has passed on Bruce Arians. He's passed on Chris Ballard as a GM. This is an organization that can't get it right when they outside source that shit. That's the problem. You need to get in-house somebody that wears pride on their chest for this organization, that wants to do what's best, not to get I'm going to get a check no matter what. I'm Ernie Accorsi. Here, hire Ryan Pace. He seems like a great guy. And yeah, get John Fox. Even though he doesn't want to, we'll just pay. This is the stuff that's got to stop. They got to get the right person there. And then ultimately, the head coach becomes the most important. And last point, there is no salary cap for coaches. This is a $4 billion family. And if you're worried about all your McCaskey brethrens and stuff, then you're forgetting that the only reason why you have that $4 billion is because of the product on the football field. That's what matters most. You're going to triple your money if the Bears are winning. They're the most important thing in the whole city. The Bulls can win 20 championships, and the Bears go to the playoffs of the Super Bowl. Everybody's watching the Bears. We'll see the Bulls on tape delay. That's reality. That's football. That's the Chicago Bears. And until the Chicago Bears start owning pride instead of this shoe salesman mentality of rumors, we had distraction this week, but we kneeled down 3 times and it's like Flanders is coaching from The Simpsons, the Chicago Bears. It's ridiculous on so many levels. There is no cap. Pay the fucking coach $20 million if it's the right coach. If Bill Parcells is the person you say, we need Parcells, we need Peyton Manning to be our football operator, whatever it is, $10 million, give it to him. He's going to fix this. He's going to have pride. And then he's going to find the right coach. Trust me. Not Millhouse and Flanders McCaskey sitting there. Well, Matt and Ryan are great leaders, like Ted. Oh my God, that's the reality. There's no cap. Fire Nagy. It doesn't hurt you. You're paying him anyway. I don't give a shit. You're still paying Lovey probably. I don't care. You get the right coach. You get the president of operations in there, and they help you. Because you got to stop with these outside firms. It's an embarrassment. You're the Bears. Your grandpa is George Halas, and you don't know football? You should be ashamed of yourself just on that.
But see, here's the scary thing, Phil, is that, this is known throughout the league. And so until there are changes where they have football people running the organization, where they have a director of football operations, as an up-and-coming assistant coach, would you want to go there when there's not a lot of support on the football side, right? So it has to look attractive to a coach coming in. And we all have egos. And, if someone's given an opportunity, hey, I could change that around. I could change the organization around. And that person's going to talk to folks amongst the league, and they're going to find out, hey, you understand that this is the way it's run. Right. And so now all of a sudden, maybe I might stay as an OC for whatever team. Maybe I might stay for another opportunity somewhere else where an organization who I understand knows football. I think you and I were talking about this. How many coaches did the Pittsburgh Steelers had since the 70s? What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
They've had 3. They've had 3 coaches.
Just that's a perfect, if anything else, Go over there and learn at the feet of the Rooneys.
Exactly.
I mean, hey, you have no. I mean, I have no shame. I'll do it. You know, I mean, just learn. What are you doing that other organizations, mainly ourselves, that we're not doing? Because we can't keep someone because we're not winning. What message? What's your culture that you have 3 coaches in 70 years? I mean, I don't. That's amazing to me. But again, if you have the opportunity, is the Bears an attractive organization for you?
I honestly think they are because of Justin Fields. But to your point, the organization tends to have rich politicians running it. And that's the reality. That's why I'm wearing this today. Performance over politics. That should be your mantra, not be you. The be you mantra is the reason why you got a club dub after every win. That's and 7 captains every other week. That's the be you. And that kind of message is the wrong one. We live in a culture of be you. I'm gonna film this fight with an old woman versus 2. Let me film it instead of stepping in there and fucking helping somebody. That's the wrong. And the Chicago Bears are going right down that road. They have the money. They have the best looking uniform. They got that best city in the country. Obviously, there's a lot of politics and bullshit in every country. There's bad sections everywhere, but unbelievable, beautiful city. You got a Soldier Field downtown and a possibility of building a brand new, beautiful stadium in Arlington Heights. And before everyone gets all their panties in a bunch, the freaking New York Giants haven't played in New York since 1970. They're in Jersey. Same with the Jets. They're in Jersey. Guess where the LA Rams are playing? Nobody plays in the city now. Dallas doesn't play in Dallas. Stop it. Get the best that you can get. And that's what you do. And you pay for it. You got plenty of money. You got all these things that I got lined up. And the most important thing is QB1. You got Justin Fields. That's the attraction. You got Justin Fields. And when you have that, on top of all these things, the one thing that you get pushback from, and my Uncle Sam said this to me a long time ago before there was Lovie Smith or any of them. He said, the Bears have a mom and pop shop, and there's a guy that counts money over there that's impeding the football process. And he was talking about Ted Phillips, and it's the same problem now. It's the same problem. So once you get rid of Ted and say, okay, Ted, you're here for life. Virginia gave you that promise. Get us a stadium. You're here for life. That's probably what went down until they say, George and Virginia say, enough is enough. Ted, run the tickets, run the concessions, run it all, make all that money. Keep punching it in your calculator. That's fine. But this guy's running football. And he's going to hire the GM, and the GM and him are going to collaborate as football freaking people and hire the right coach, no matter what the fucking cost is, because there is no cap for a coach. If it's Jim Harbaugh making $20 million to get him in the door to fix this shit, then it's Jim fucking Harbaugh having that conversation without Ted Phillips being there. It's George, the new president of football operations, and the GM all sitting down there saying, our culture sucked. We own that. We are changing, and it starts here with you signing this piece of paper as the head coach. He checks off all the boxes. He is a former head coach. He's maniacal. He doesn't give a shit about a ref. He'll get in another coach's face, and he'll take pride in his team. They won't be fucking dancing after they beat the Lions on Thanksgiving by 2, who haven't won a game all season. He would never do that. That's who I want lead. Or hire me, because I would go in there and fix this whole fucking thing. It would be shut down. Shut down. Don't even make a sound after we lose. I don't want to hear anybody laughing. Andy Dalton laughing last week sat with me for days. I'm like, how is this fucking guy laughing after you lost and played like shit? Can't happen. Put in somebody else's name. I know people get all upset about Harbaugh. Harbaugh's a freaking great football coach. Is he not? Dad, Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, yes.
He's a great, your former teammate of yours. Great coach. I'm David Shaw, Stanford, great coach. We can go down a list. I can find coaches that have been coaches, head coaches.
Listen, I got to interject. You got to understand the management, general manager, football operations is not working. You got a 39-year-old left tackle. We begged to get back because you did a lousy job of signing people or drafting people.
Exactly.
Then you got a center
taken him.
that played in Notre Dame. He should be good, but he's not.
Right.
He's not a caliber football player for the NFL. He's not there. Now, maybe he could play guard better. I don't know, but he's not a center. Now, the right tackle, until you got this guy, forget it. That was a weakness like you wouldn't believe.
Right.
And you got a running back that's making yardage in spite of all of them.
Exactly.
Unbelievable. Can you imagine if you ever put the New England line up there and let him run? Oh, my God. He'd blow you out of the pool. For crying out loud. This guy, get that line, offensive line, and you can play an average quarterback behind him. And a great running back.
To your point, this is an organization, Chris Zorich, that hadn't drafted an offensive tackle in the first 2 rounds in the last 10 or 12 years. You're talking, listen, this is true. In the last 10 or 12 years, the last offensive tackle they drafted was Gabe Karimi when, what's his name? Phil Emery was the GM. They never invest in the offensive line under Ryan Pace till this past season, getting Larry Borum, who my dad is talking about, and obviously Tevin Jenkins, who was hurt and is out there still warming up or whatever the fuck's going on with him. Just redshirt his ass and worry about that next year, because this offense doesn't pride itself on being tenacious. It doesn't pride itself on the identity my dad's talking about. And I've fought for David Montgomery for 3 years since his rookie season. He was my number 1 back. And I see the talent of elusiveness, pride, vision, and power. He doesn't have breakaway speed. Well, he worked on it. Let's reward those guys that do that kind of stuff. And you continue to trot out these guys that don't care. And because you have a culture, Chris, that club dub matters more than actually going out there and getting dubs in the classic way, a physical tackle. I mean, look at Eddie Jackson out there stealing, highest paid safety, talking to his teammates, saying tackling, anybody could tackle. Anybody. It's about getting turnovers. Meanwhile, he's got 0 turnovers.
And he's playing 30 yards deep.
And he's 34 yards deep. And he's got he was playing in today's game. Did anybody in the chat, did you see Eddie Jackson make a play today? I didn't. And that's a problem. This is what this administration does. Are you going to pay Roquan Smith, as good as he is, $100 million to stay here? Can you afford to do that? These are the questions you're going to have, but you're going to have it with someone who understands defense, offensive line. They don't have any rules on that offensive line.
Well, it's just like, and I know you weren't a huge fan of Leno, but I didn't question what happened in that situation where they felt they had a great tackle in the kid from Texas A&M. So as soon as they get him,
Oklahoma State.
They let Leno go, and then all of a sudden, this kid's hurt, and now they're hurting for a tackle. And as your dad alluded to, they went and got a guy who was fishing in the south.
In the pond. He was at the pond.
I'm not putting that guy down because he's a good tackle.
No, right. I'm saying, God bless him.
Right.
He's still fishing. He's done. And they're like, hey, can you come back here? And it's kind of like, that's the best person you think will be your tackle. That's the best out of all the guys who are out there right now. That's the best one. So now it's a judge of talent.
They don't know offensive line. That's the thing. Leno should have been launched 2 years ago. That's the problem. But they hung on to availability being the best ability. That's for fucking skateboarding, not football. You could have an available fucking punter that sucks at punting, but he's available today. That statement is for blog boys. Availability isn't the best ability. It's fucking toughness and fundamentals and pride. Those things matter more than availability. I get it. You can't make the club in the tub. Well, this person made the club and he was horrific, Leno. But I get your point. They didn't have a plan. That should have been their number one priority coming out of that season, is to make sure we signed a veteran left tackle and we're going to draft offensive tackles. They didn't do it. They did the other way, and then they ended up getting Jason Peters, which is a huge upgrade to Leno, without a doubt. But it is what it is. It's the priorities aren't there. This is the same coach that can't find his identity for 3 years, and we're all waiting for this offense. And he stabbed Mitch Trubisky in the back. This 2.0. Oh, Mitch can't figure that out. And he was taking his shots, if you look between the lines. So he trades for Nick Foles. Then Nick Foles folds like a house of cards, and he's stabbing Nick in the back. And I don't feel sorry for this guy. He's fired the best offensive line coach in the country. This guy fired him and made him the scapegoat when you can't even block inside zone correctly. Come on. This is a shit show with a shoe salesman, and the Bears should have shown some toughness instead of the owner going to the team. Listen, there's no truth to this. There's not. You should have went over there and said, we're going to make change for the better for all of you guys. That would have been a great organization. This is a terribly run organization, and it's not going to get better until they do what we said. The president of football operations is the penicillin to Ted Phillips led Chicago Bears. And I'll tell you this. I use Uncle Sam. He told me that before there was Lovey. He said this shit to me. I'll never forget it. And I was like, that can't be right. That can't be right. He was right. He was right about a lot of shit. And then you look at Ted Phillips with these blog boys fighting with me and Shane 4 or 5 years. I was at an old network saying this shit. They're fighting. Ted has nothing to do. I don't understand. He's just no. Ted Phillips was negging the trade for LaDainian Tomlinson. You would have had LaDainian Tomlinson as a Bear. Ted Phillips, he has nothing to do with football, but he's negging a trade. That's something to do with football. So Ted Phillips has always been in the way. Guess who hired Matt Nagy? Ted Phillips. Who interviewed? Who interviewed? Ryan. Ted was there. Exactly. Draft day, when they get Justin Fields, go watch the video, Phil. Who's there? The guy that has nothing to do with football's there. Why? Yeah, we got him. Why is he there? Because he's involved in everything. Drop Millhouse like an old wet noodle bag. Throw him in the trash. Tell him, Greg. Yes, Millhouse. The truth is there.
Until that changes, next year's going to be the same thing.
If they go like this, Chris, you're 100%. Right. If they go fire Nagy, right, and they keep Ryan Pace and Ted and George are hiring the next kid, they're doing the same shit. It's going to be some fucking assistant coach. Exactly. It's going to be some assistant coach.
And not even like a tattoo one. It'll be like a mid-tier.
Mid-tier. This has got to stop. It's got to stop. And until next week at home, the first fucking thing you do when you get in the building as a fan, fire Nagy chants going down. Fire Nagy. It should be at every timeout, every minute. You fans, you have to have the power and pride. Fuck a third down and just be yelling fire Nagy, because you're going to get boat raced by Arizona. You're talking about a team that's wanting to win a Super Bowl and go in there cold. You beat the fucking Lions by 2 points. They're going to come in here and destroy you with Colt McCoy or freaking whoever they got at quarterback. It doesn't matter, because your culture sucks. Those guys didn't shake his hand. They don't care. So you're going to get boat raced. As a fan, if you're paid and you went, show some passion and pride. Let ownership know everybody must go, including Nagy. That's where you go, because that's what it's going to happen. Jason Garrett going to be our next coach? What is going to be? That's what they're going to do. And this is the unfortunate stance, because that's when you become a joke. Like, you become a joke. You know what? They didn't want Ditka when they found out who Ditka was. They're like, oh my God, this guy's yelling at me. He's yelling at the reporter. He's yelling at the ref. We run a nice organ. We liked Abe singing that song. Jeremiah had a bullfrog. We don't want this guy. And you know what? The guy that you don't like, that makes you uncomfortable, is how you win. He's the guy that gets it. And you need someone that's maniacal. You've played, and I don't think there's a better, I mean, obviously you played for Coach Lou Holtz. You won a national championship, and you played for Coach Ditka. Those two guys, both Super Bowl winner, national champion. So I think you know a thing or two about what it takes to be a great head football coach. And you could just tell by even that presser how depressing it is to be a Bears fan.
Yeah, and it's the culture though, and that's really what you talked about before. It's from the head coach on down in the locker room, right? It can be chaotic in the front office, and if you're a good enough leader, then you don't let what happens in the administration affect your team. And so, you know, being a selfless or whatever you say you are, you go, you know, to your team, I mean, be a leader of men. And, you know, you and I talk about this, the first thing somebody said, you know, hey, we heard you. No, not true. Next question.
Exactly.
You're hemming and hawing and, well, you know, and I feel and, you know, no, not true. Next question. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, not true. I mean, how many times do you think they would have pulled that with Tomlinson, right? Hey, coach, we heard what? I mean, his name was up for, not his name, but a reporter asked him about the USC job.
Yep.
You see how he handled it. There were no more questions after that.
Exactly. He stood there. I was going to use him as example. Your three coaches the Steelers have had, Mike Tomlin would stand, Coach, there's rumors about you being fired. That's what they are, rumors. Next question. That's how you stand there as a goddamn man. Instead, and yeah, there was distractions this week. Go coach soccer. That's what they do. Like, put up a red car, yellow, everyone's falling, make pretend they're hurt. That's that. This coach is horrific. And like where is he? Like Bill Olsick is saying, my dad said this. He said, you got to know offense, defense, special teams as the head coach. This guy was for years embedded in his play sheet, never paying attention to who's performing, no accountability, no punishment, no nothing. Freaking guy comes off the field after spitting in someone's face or punching in the playoffs, and he's got nothing to say to him. A kid almost headbutts his ass. Anthony Miller in the playoff getting removed. And this is the coach you got. Come on. It's a culture vulture here in Chicago. You're going to have to change it immediately. I
think you can't wait. You got to send a message to your team too.
Exactly.
Because your team, you got guys that got their contracts are ending. Do they want to be with you? You got a great defensive line. You want to lose one of those guys? No way. You got to keep them.
Yeah.
They got a great linebacker. You don't want to lose that guy. You don't want to lose some of the offensive people you have. You got to think about that. And you got a guy that's not a leader. And you're going to keep him around to set this culture and let it gravitate towards an emptiness. That's what's happening, because right now you don't have a chance against the Cardinals. And you think you're going to get these guys fired up to win this next game? For what? What are you going to win except pride? And you don't give pride if you don't have pride. That's the problem.
Exactly. Let me address, I want to address Kenneth Williams here, because I don't embarrass myself ever. I don't go out. I don't pretend I'm selfless. I'm a fucking be in your face. I give facts with tape, and watch the tape, which I show you each and every week on this channel, or become a patron so you can actually see the hurdles and the obstacles that one David Montgomery has to overcome. It's not just the defense he's having to overcome. He's having to overcome an offensive line that doesn't know assignments or doesn't finish. He has to overcome a head coach that doesn't know how to use him. So for someone like you to be there and think, I'm never going to put someone in elite status unless they've proven to me on tape that that's what they are. I will defend David Montgomery till the cows come home, because you know what I see? I do see elite effort. There's a play, my dad, you were pointing out, he breaks it. It was on they called a holding penalty. I think they got 7 yards. He breaks it through and moves his leg just in time with the defender coming to, he would have broke his leg. He just has innate instincts and everything you want. He catches the football. Imagine me as the coach of the Chicago Bears and I move him outside and I got a freaking linebacker covering him. That's what I would do, Chris, because I'm smart. I would say, okay, you're going to play Mooney and Allen Robinson. We're going to have and I'm going to motion this running back out wide and your middle linebacker is going to cover him. No, there's no, run a slant on this fucking guy. Boop. 16, 20. He breaks tackles. Kenneth, please learn the game of football before you start coming in here thinking you're going to talk shit to me about making my embarrassed. I'm doubling down every single week. I have nothing. Yes, my son and him have a relationship. My son loves David Montgomery. He loves him because he watches the tape with his dad. That's why he loves him. Anybody taking a shot at David Montgomery could freaking go kick rocks, please. It's ridiculous. You should be so happy that you have that kind of player. This coach couldn't figure out Jordan Howard or David Montgomery. Today, you're rotating in Khalil Herbert, -6 yards. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. Thanks for getting me fired up. Whatever.
Me too.
You agree, right, with me? And listen, he's a beast, and he's playing on a shitty offense. Do you know how hard that is to be successful? Trust me. The best running back besides Walter Payton I've ever seen is who Chris Zorich talked about playing on Thanksgiving. That's Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders has had 6 games where he got -1 yard. Go look it up. He's had games that he's gotten shut down in. Does that take away Barry Sanders' greatness? No, it never will, because he was outstanding. So don't give me a fucking stat line to tell me who a player is and what it is. That's the dumbest thing you could possibly do. 16. He probably had 5 carries, Shane said, in the first half with your backup quarterback on the road in Thanksgiving. That's a problem. And that one belongs to the head coach. We got there today, though. 333 people still checking in with us on Thanksgiving. My wife is texting, okay, when are you guys coming up for dessert?
My wife left. I left her the car. She left about a half an hour ago. I'm going to be eating scraps, man.
Did you eat yet or no?
No. We're actually going over to, we're going over to another family members today. Yeah. And then Saturday, everybody's coming here. But Saturday, I'm going to be in the garage with my 4 TVs because there's maybe 1 or 2 college games on. I don't know.
What a weekend. Again, my guy, Chris Zorich, a part of the TTNL network, jumps on every Monday night. It's me and Chris, more so Chris, and our girl Cherie producing, going over the top 16 teams in the land every week. He's a former 3-time All-American, a college football Hall of Famer, former Chicago Bears 2nd-round pick, number 97 in the program.
2-time Walter Camp All-American.
2-time Walter Camp All-American.
Walter Camp All-Century team.
And the Walter Camp.
Ties to Connecticut, bro.
Are you selfless?
I am not selfless. See, I didn't call myself selfless. I didn't say, hey, someone like me, I'm selfless,
He will be back, Dad. Walter Camp weekend. My father, myself, and Chris Zorich, and a few other people will be going out to Modern Pizza. We're going to be doing some stuff. We got a lot to talk about. I talked to Donnie today at the football game. We're going to meet up this week, or next week, rather, this week coming up, and talk about our Walter Camp shows for TTNL. That's going to be exciting. So a lot of exciting stuff this week and next week, and we'll continue to cover this football team. Whether they fired Nagy in season or not is yet to be determined. I think the Chicago Bears got scared and let the politics and optics take away a decision that has been made. I know the writer that came out to say it is a former Pulitzer Prize winning writer and had very good information. You never go out there if you didn't. And I think the Chicago Bears got scared of the optics, and that's where football shouldn't be. Unfortunately, this is what we did today, is go over how to fix it. Maybe they'll be listening. I know Patron 222 is the GM of the Chicago Bears. Hopefully he's listening now, listening to us fix it, Ryan.
He has nothing better to do right now.
Yeah, he probably doesn't. He's on the flight home, unless he's still Club Dubbing with them.
Unless he's still in Club Dub. Yeah, I can't believe. See, that's so bad. And this is my little rant at the end. I mean,
Okay.
how do you show? Bro, y'all won by 2 points, taking the knee. Like how is that like? And again, you know what? I came from a different stock. I mean,
yep.
I won a national championship. And we knew that if we lost one game, it was over.
Right.
So that's where I come from. And we didn't party. We didn't enjoy. Now, we enjoyed the win. Hey, good job. We pat each other on the back after a win, but we didn't party after a 2-point win over Navy. You know? Come on.
That's why I love you, Chris. Listen, it's been a great show. Bears Hour Live. After every Bears game, we'll be live again after the Cardinals versus the Chicago Bears, which will be on my wife's birthday, Chris. December 5th. I've gotten permission to even do the show then. She's a saint. I don't know is there hope?
There's hope, guys.
I don't know if there's hope. Yeah. It's going to be a short show. I could tell you that. Right? Don't worry. I'm going to pamper her just like I pamper every person, every guest that comes on this show.
Except
that
Kenneth.
Gives it.
Except
Except what?
Except
Who? Kenneth Davis? I didn't pamper him? I was hard on him.
Montgomery. I thought it was.
Oh, Kenneth. Kenneth technically was only a comment on this show.
Oh, okay. My bad.
So we can get away with that.
You were a little fired up.
He got me amped up about David Montgomery. He did. I was looking for the ender here. Where is it? Cherie bounced on us real quick.
Thanksgiving. Hello.
Yeah, everybody's there. Final thoughts, Chris. Anything you want to say as we wrap up this Bears Hour Live Thanksgiving episode?
Thank you for having me. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And I know your dad and I kind of alluded to it. You know, it's hard to win in the NFL. This is a win. Wasn't pretty, but a lot of it kind of leading up to it is what I think it becomes an issue with the organization and the culture of the Bears. And so until that changes, that's what we're going to expect. So, you know, if there is another game that they win by 2 points and the team is horrible, then expect what you saw today.
A smiling Matt Nagy just walked to the team bus with the game ball in his hand, Chris. That's the latest from Detroit.
Who gave him the game ball? Was he?
Who gave it to him?
We don't know.
The manager gave it.
Wait, did he give himself the game? That's really selfless.
Is it?
He gave himself the game ball. I mean, who gives
I'm
the game
really
ball?
Isn't the coach supposed to give the game ball?
I mean, it's not like the manager. I mean, it's not like Ted Phillips came out and said, "Wait, hold on, team, hold on. You know what? Here's the ball." I mean, who gives the game ball?
The kicker, maybe the punter stepped in and was like, "Coach, you deserve a game ball on a 2-win of an 0-9 and one tie. Now they're 0-10-1.
And
Lions.
30 players passed them in the beginning of the game.
It's 30 players, yes.
Eh.
Dad, you have a final thought on Thanksgiving Bears football?
Well, I'd love to be talking about positive things.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that get positive is, number one, you have to make that decision because you're just prolonging the situation. If you make a statement that you're unhappy with the way the culture is going, the way the team is going, you might get this team to rally behind somebody and win 3 or 4 more games. Then it shows you that you have there, and they have you, and you have them in mind, rather than just being aloof from their feelings. Those guys have feelings. You see them walk right by that coach.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. I can't say it enough. I want to thank Chris Zorich, my man, for jumping on Thanksgiving Bears Hour Live. I want to thank Shane Marsall, Cherie for all of their effort today, and my father for jumping on. I want to thank my wife, my family for cooking, and we are going to wrap up this show with one final thought, and I'm going to say this like this. The Chicago Bears are a point of reference, and we brought up John Madden today, so I will quote him as we wrap up. He said, "The world is a better place, and the football world is a better place when the Chicago Bears are winning." And he was 100% right. It's not just about because we're Bears fans, but it's because of what they mean to the country, what they mean to the city of Chicago and the hardworking people that support them. At the end of the day, the Chicago Bears are exactly where we thought they were when they decided to collaborate and keep Coach Nagy. Unfortunately, today, as he walks out with a smile on his face and a game ball on the 0-10 football team win, that right there is the definition of this culture. For Chris Zorich, for my dad, I'm your guy, Draft Dr. Phil. This has been Bears Hour Live.
Don't cut off yet, because
what?
I want to tell Chris something.
Okay.
Lou Holtz is a friend of mine. Did you know that? He
not,
coached with
no,
Sam Vertigliano at University of Connecticut, and I used to go up there all the time. And I sat by his desk. I said, "We got to get together on the chalkboard and teach me some defensive backfield stuff." That's what he was then.
Yeah.
And then he's moved around. But it was 1977, and he was coach of the year from the University of Arkansas. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And he was at the Walter camp, and I brought my 4 captains, and I said, "I'm going to introduce you to Lou Holtz." And they started laughing and said, "You don't know Lou Holtz." And I walked into the building, and he saw me. He said, "Philly." And he came over to me and gave me a big hug, and I said, "I want you to meet my captains." And they had a blank look on their face. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Look at that.
Great story.
That's a great story. You're getting emotional on this story as we end this show.
Well,
I'm glad you shared.
That's what this whole thing's about, right? It's a big fraternity. I've got to tell you something. You got to love people that care.
We care.
That's right.
Hopefully,
best game out there.
It's the best game in the world. We hope the Bears care, and that's how we'll end this show. God bless you guys. All of you fans that checked in and are still with us, have a great Thanksgiving. Be safe, be smart, and at the end of the day, we always say, go Bears.
Thank you for watching Bears Hour Live, the best post-Bears game show on the planet, on the Tape Never Lies Network.